From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.
What's going on, nerds, and welcome to this special episode of the Nerds Doing Nerd Things podcast, where we're talking about the first episode of The Last of Us HBO TV series. Susie, what is up?
Not too much. I do have to say though that I've been reading articles all day about this.
That's yeah, I kind of figured.
And I have to say that I'll get more into it as we go along this episode, but I'm definitely intrigued by this because, like, let's deviate here for a second to Resident Evil.
Okay.
Resident Evil had movies made. They had animated movies. They had the famous one with Mila Jovovich.
Yep.
And it got a lot of reviews about how it didn't follow the video game and how it deviated. But, like, movies have, like, an overwhelming arc, whereas, like, video games, you can kind of divide the arc up based on what you're playing at the time. So, like, Resident Evil 1 has its own arc versus, like, The Village from Resident Evil. And it's kind of hard to encompass that in the movies because there's a lot going on in video games. And that was the biggest thing that I was reading, is that, like, it's really hard to take a video game and bring it to the big screen or even to a TV show because there's elements, there's stories, stuff that you can do in a video game is really hard to bring to the table in movie and TV. Just because it's so different. It's different media. So I found a lot of those, like, really interesting to read. And, like, you see The Witcher, who has a successful, TV show and following from the video game. So we might be seeing a turnaround. So fingers crossed. Because I would love to see more video games come to the big screen.
So would I, especially if they're done. Granted, this is just the first episode. But if they're done like what we saw in this hour and 20-minute episode, yes, please. So this episode is, I think, rightfully called When You Are Lost in the Darkness, because if you take the first 3 hours, okay, maybe 2 hours of the game, and literally maneuver that into a TV series, but it's an hour and a half in the TV series, but it feels like you are more encompassed with some of these characters. Susie, since you weren't a huge fan of the video games, what was your initial takeaway from seeing the TV series?
So I've seen a couple of shows and movies that have almost the same premise, where, a virus takes over, you're quarantined, you can't really walk outside of your bubble, so to speak. And I think this one honestly does it the best.
Mm-hmm.
I think AJ and I were watching it together, and one of the things that I looked at him and said, this kind of reminds me of, dare I say it, of COVID, because of how fast it happened. Like, you live your whole day, you're not infected, you're fine, and then all of a sudden it's like
Boom.
A mass breakout of, like, everything. You're in a pandemic and you're like, wait, I just blinked, what just happened
And
here?
you see day zero.
Uh-huh.
And a little more in depth in the TV series than the actual video game. But for the most part, that first half of the episode, you're with Sarah. She is the main character of this, like, first half of the episode. and you see stuff start to happen in the background, and then it hits.
One of the things that I did like about this is I watched a lot of gameplay for The Last of Us because I really wanted to play it. I couldn't really get into it, but I mean, I might pick it up at some point. Who knows when my life, maybe slows down. Um, but one of the things that I liked is how diverse the cast is.
Yes.
And I was reading an article because what else are you supposed to do in your downtime other than read articles?
Watch YouTube videos?
No, that involves sound. I don't like having sound. Was the diversity of the cast because I guess I cannot think of the producers of this.
Of the TV?
Dogs. No. The video game. Dogs.
Well, you got Neil Druckmann, who created...
What's the company? It's
Naughty
dogs.
Dog.
Thank you, Naughty Dogs. I'm like, it's dogs. What's the first word?
Naughty Dog. Same people who made The Last of Us. Crash Bandicoot.
I played enough of their games. How did I forget their name? Like,
it's okay. I got you. I'm pretty sure Will screamed it downstairs too.
No, he didn't. I'm actually surprised by that. But I was reading an article where I guess the first game, and AJ, you can correct me if I'm wrong, was more one race. Like there really wasn't any like.
You had Marlene. That's the only one I could picture off the top of my head.
Yeah, but like there really wasn't any mix. And then in the second one they really got everyone, like they got different races in there, they got different people in there. And so I think that it starts off with having that, that intercooperation, that everything. So like Actually,
I rephrased that, and for everybody watching at home right now, we are going into spoilers, so I probably should have specified, spoiler warning and everything. But then again, if you played the games, you already know what's going to happen. You had Ellie's friend, and you have Marlene. There are a couple Asian characters too.
Yeah, but you understand where I'm coming from, or
yeah.
And I didn't even know. Like, I didn't play video games at all. I thought this was normal. I thought this was how the video game was until I was reading articles about it. And I'm like, I like this better.
And it's the same story, just with...
Same story. They're introducing elements from the second game into the first game, which I absolutely love.
So, let's talk about one of the first scenes when we get to the Boston QZ zone. The little kid, Susie.
Oh. Actually, can we talk about something before that?
Sure.
Can we talk about the fact that,
Yeah, we probably should talk about Sarah. We really should.
Yeah, I was like, you skipped Sarah entirely.
My brain today has been everything with that little kid.
AJ, like, I can't even tell you. I thought she died when the missile hit. And then, no, she dies because the guy is told to regard them as infected.
Yep.
And I'm just like, I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I would have been fine if it was the missile. I would have been fine. But the fact that you thought they were infected and you didn't even bother to check.
Just leaving orders that...
I'm like...
Well, they also didn't have the technology in 2003... because the game takes place in 2013. The TV series at the start is 2003. But they didn't have the technology to see if people were infected or not outside of them turning. So what I'm guessing the government said was, treat anybody in this vicinity as infected. And he even says it's a little girl, and she's got a messed up ankle. And you even said... The dude even said it afterwards. He goes, I am sorry. And then gets his brains blown out by Tommy. And as everybody knows, the literally the gut punch of the first part of the game and now the TV series is Sarah dying. And I almost couldn't watch it because it was hard for me to watch in the game. Because it's magnificently done in the game with Troy Baker as Joel and Pedro Pascal as Joel in the TV series. You feel that shit.
Yeah. I was blown away, and
I can't picture anybody else playing Joel.
I can't. I really, really can't. And I wish I could, but I can't. I feel like he does such an amazing job as a dad, as a brother. Like, he...
Look at his fall into, I don't want to call it madness, but I remember how Ellie says, "Hey, by the way, your watch is broken."
Mm-hmm.
That watch breaks the same time Sarah dies. So
Yeah.
I think his give a shit dies the minute Sarah dies.
Mm-hmm.
And you see that, the other girl is like, "I can't deal with this kid." He's like, "Yeah, bucket into the fire."
Yeah, that kid messed me up.
I didn't know you didn't understand what happened.
I saw the red, and I was like, okay, well, she's infected. Don't you... What are you gonna like put her into quarantine just to make sure that she's actually infected? No, we're gonna euthanize her. I'm like, nope, I'm good. Thank you. Pass. Hard nope.
Honestly, how effed up this is. I was thinking COVID at a certain point was going to get this bad.
Yeah, you weren't alone.
I really thought we were going to start being like, "Oh, you got it. Oh, you got it."
But I do, like, I don't want to get too deep into the episode because there's a lot.
There is a lot.
But I think for me, the biggest thing in this episode for me was the ending. Was the end of the episode with
Ellie, Bella Ramsey.
Yeah, Ellie. I want to make sure I had her name right. Was with Ellie, and how unhinged Joel becomes with that officer.
And you see why.
Yeah. He literally you could tell his give a shit's not there anymore.
Well, he goes PTSD and sees his daughter again. And while he doesn't really care about Ellie yet, he's not going to let another girl die like that. But honestly, before we get into your part about how cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs he gets onto the officer's face, what'd you think of Bella Ramsey as Ellie?
I
know you don't have a lot to go on, but
so Bella Ramsey was in Game of Thrones, and she plays
a fucking badass,
amazing character in Game of Thrones. She's the youngest leader, and she's amazing in it.
She's the youngest leader and has the biggest balls.
Yes, I was expecting great things from her, and she has yet to let me down.
One,
I love
2, 3, 4. Fuck you.
Yes. Actually, she got all the way up to 8 and then said, "Fuck."
And what was my comment after that? I go, "Susie, I didn't know you were in this TV show."
But yeah, you want to lock me up for days on end? Of course I'm gonna have that reaction. Come on. But I think she does an amazing job. I'm so looking forward to seeing more of this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just they literally they picked 2 great actors to do this, and they mesh really well together. And that's only on the first episode that we see that they can mesh well together.
Yeah, I loved it like so much. Honestly, because I have so much time in the games, it's so nice to actually have a representation from a video game that's actually good. But it's not beat for beat, but it's almost spot on. I did like how they gave Sarah more of a showcase at the beginning, so you got attached to her even though people knew it was coming. It still happened, but I felt a lot more attached to the Sarah character than what happens. And, you know, you could see it. Joel's give a shit character or Pedro's acting give a shit character out the window, completely gone. But I'm really excited to see episode 2 because that's, I think, when we're really going to start possibly seeing some of the infecteds.
Well, I mean, we've already started seeing them, but I want to see how they differ from like other shows that I've watched with infected, because
I would say these are creepier.
they were creepy in the first episode with the guy running full speed ahead. Now, mind you, any movie that I've watched with freaking zombies, they don't generally move that fast. They move like they can keep up with you, but this guy was like insane, like next level, like track athlete. Let's go.
So there are, I think, 3 or 4 stages of these infected. The first one, I think, is called a sprinter, which I think we saw. The second one starts taking effect about a year in, and those are the clickers, because it's starting to grow out of their face and everything. Because it all starts in the brain. A lot of times it comes right out of the eye sockets and the ears, and sometimes the mouth. And everybody, go look at what they look like. They're creepy as shit. But the third one happens after about a decade, and they're called bloaters. You shoot them, you kill them. They blow up and send poisonous spores everywhere, which actually are not in this TV series, which I can understand why, for the fact of, in the game, if there's spores around, they were in gas masks the whole time, and I'm pretty sure they didn't want to have everybody in gas masks for a certain period of time because nobody wants to hide Pedro's face.
But they already hid Pedro's face in The Mandalorian.
Okay, they don't want to do it even more. Is that better, Susie? Alright, so are you locked in for another episode, Susie?
Yeah.
Is it Sunday yet? Well, I don't even want to wish it to be Sunday yet as much as I wanted to, because then I have to go to work the next day.
No. First of all, we do not wish it to be Sunday. Here's why. Because you and I got thoroughly engrossed in House of the Dragon, and now House of the Dragon is over, and we're like, what the heck do we do with our Sundays? I do not want Sunday to come any faster because I want to drag this out for as long as humanly possible,
and
so that I just enjoy it.
It's just 9 episodes.
I'm not coming back until next year.
It's just 9 episodes. I'm so upset that it's only 9 episodes. But everybody, if you're just joining us now, hit that like button, subscribe, reverse all the way to the beginning, because we really get into it. Remember, spoilers. But then again, if you've played the game, you would know anyway. Susie, where can people find you? Outside of...
I reversed and I turned around.
Hello. Okay. Where can people find you?
Making you make that I don't know why I'm friends with her look. You can find me working on our Discord channel and making dinner, because that's what I was making before this.
Well, enjoy your ribs, enjoy your company, and have fun. We're going to send it over to Rob Paulson real fast.
Hey, you guys, this is 625 here from Lilo and Stitch. Some people think of me as AJ Coppola. I don't care. Just follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, Twitch at NDTA Jalistar15, and Xbox and PSN at AJ Allstar 15. I should have said AJ Allstar, but I'm a sandwich maker. What the hell do I know? Do yourself a favor. Go get yourself a hot fudge marshmallow tuna fish and ham sandwich. All right? Take care of yourself. Goodbye.
All right, everybody. This was our first Last of Us episode. Come back next Monday for episode number 2. But tomorrow, we're talking about what?
That just sounds weird. The first Last of Us episode.
I can't fix that. But,
I know.
But
it just sounds weird.
But tomorrow on the channel, we got our live stream of Black Adam. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is once again going to show his face on our beautiful cover art made by James.
Make sure you show him some love, otherwise we might end up with a rock with a smiley face on it.
That's a boulder. That's a nice boulder.
A nice boulder.
But everybody, come hang out with us tomorrow night for when we talk about DC's Black Adam movie. But stay safe, stay cool, enjoy being a nerd. Peace out, everybody.
How can you not stay cool? It's freaking winter outside. Just open the door and walk out.
That was the joke, yeah? Way to deadpan my shit, Susie. Bye, everybody.
From Mordor to Hogwarts to Gotham, the nerds have come together to create a show for nerds by nerds. Join nerds doing nerd things as they talk about all things nerdy. Stay up to date on the show by liking the Nerds Doing Nerd Things Facebook page.